Alright, so I'm going to be doing electrolytic rust removal using this battery charger. It's 12 volts. It's pretty old, but it works pretty good for this. So I've got some sacrificial metal in here, and I've obviously got this teapot, and I've got the two diodes, I don't know, here. So there's the positive, that's the negative. The way I've always seen it, the mnemonic I have, is the negative goes on the one that you want to remove rust from. So negative, think remove, and then the positive is the one that gets the rust. So that goes on the sacrificial one. I'll hook this up here. This just can go right on here since it's sticking out of the solution, which has baking soda in it for electrolytes, for the ions to move better in the water. I'm going to use some metal and run it through this hole and then these two holes as well, and hope that that's going to be enough for this. Alright, I've got it wired up, tightened so that it can't not be touching metal. We'll see how the contact is on here. I'll try and drop it in. Nice. Should go without saying, this obviously isn't plugged in. Okay. Nice, this is working out nicely. It's like just enough to submerge it, and then these two guys are close to it, but also not touching. I think this could go well. I'm worried about the underside, but I can physically get the outside of it with tools really easily. So the inside is what I'm worried about. Good, we've got bubbles, mostly on the wire itself, but we'll let this sit for, ooh, look at the bubbles on that guy, that's good. For quite a few hours, maybe even overnight. But it's also freezing here, so I might check on it tonight, see if there's any ice forming. Okay, so it is freezing out here, and I left the in here overnight. I unplugged it because I don't like leaving that on overnight unattended, but I thought it'd be really interesting to see what happens as I plug it in right now while it's frozen. Ooh, there's little bubbles. Just the top is frozen. I'm not going to wiggle it, but cool. All right, it's been a day now, give or take. Hasn't been on the entire time. Maybe at least 6 hours total, I'd say. Maybe up to 10. I'm gonna turn this off and see how it's doing. Water's pretty murky. That's good. There's still ice on it. Alright, that was one good round in the electrolysis. The outside has a cool shiny texture on it, which I'm not sure if is the patina from the original like finish on it coming through. The inside's still kind of messy, so I'm going to use this wire brush in here just to loosen up some of this before attempting to do electrolytic rust removal on the inside of it. I'm also not going to show the brushing because, I mean, it's just brushing. Okay, here's the janky setup for doing the inside of it. Still in the bucket in case it overflows. Kept the same lead for the negative, so the tea kettle is losing or removing the rust. And this positive one is now suspended by these 2x4s here. And let's see how it does. Well, it's steaming because it's hot water in there to dissolve the baking soda. But I think right around there I'm seeing some activity. Let's see how it does. Little update. I have extensively scrubbed this quite a bit. Used a wire brush on my drill. There's still quite a bit of scale or rust on the inside there, but at least in the center there it's looking pretty good. And there's some other spots that are looking nice. It's a lot better than what it was before. Right now, I am taking the lid and seasoning it in here. It's just a slight coat of oil on it in a 450 degree oven. You can do it on the stovetop too, but I wanted to really let this bake on. Not a very dramatic step, but I have started doing some more seasoning on them. Just layers of oil on the inside because I'm going to paint the outside in a 450 degree oven, nothing fancy. Alright, got a couple layers of the blue enamel on there. Really doesn't show up great in the shadows, but in direct sun it actually comes through pretty nice. I'll be putting a crystal clear enamel on this, and if you are doing this, I wouldn't recommend using these paints if you intend on using this on an open flame. This one is for a humidifier, so it's only going to go on top of the mantle, on top of a wood burning stove, so it shouldn't exceed like 200 degrees. It'll just stay warm, and as it does that, it'll slightly evaporate water. I have one small layer of the rust converter paint on the bottom, and I'm gonna actually remove some of that, some of the contact points, just in case it does get too hot on those. Alright, all the gloss is on. Pretty happy with how it turned out. That navy blue is such an interesting color in the light. Gonna go ahead and remove these guys. The patina in there looks really good. There we go.